Hello friends, I'm here again today with some updates. Some people sometimes after buying a house begin to experience a lot of difficulties associated with some things in the house. What can you do or what should you do when you buy a house or when you have a client who has just bought a house to be sure that the person is going to enjoy that house that when he moves into it? Now, one of the first things you should do when you buy a new house, especially a house that you are not involved in during the construction, you just bought the house, you don't know what went into its construction. The first thing to do when you buy that house is to conduct a structural integrity test. This is a structural test that some engineering companies do to determine if that house is strong enough, if it's stable enough to be. Let me explain that. You know that engineers, structural engineers say that houses are tied together. A building is usually tied together by beams and, kept suspended by some columns. Now, a structural integrity test is trying to test if this tying together is in place, if all parts of the building have been tied together the way it's supposed to be. Sometimes during construction, some engineers remove some columns from here and put them another place. They change some things. Now, these changes, have they resulted into anything that one should be concerned about? That is the reason why when you buy a house that you are not there when it was constructed, the first thing you should do is to conduct a structural integrity test. In a video that I'm going to do later on, we're going to talk to an engineer to tell us the nitty-gritties, the processes involved in conducting an integrity test. But for this video, I am telling you that one of the first things you must do is to conduct a structural integrity test. Another thing that will be important to do is to get a mechanical engineer to do what we call pressure test in the building. And let me explain why. You see, a lot of times, plumbing pipes that are laid as construction projects are going on, especially the ones that are laid in the suspended slab, that's what we call decking, the ones laid on the decking. When concrete work is going on, they are casting the decking or the suspended slab. These laborers who do the work sometimes don't pay attention. They break the pipe sometimes, and if the mechanical engineer is not there or the plumber is not there to watch his pipes while this concrete work is going on, what usually happens is that these pipes break and concrete pours into them and they are blocked. So when it is not noticed, you finish your house. When the time comes for you to use the house, you figure out that some pipes have been blocked and you can't use them. And it will now begin to require breaking walls, breaking slabs to be able to access and repair these things. So that is the reason why you need to conduct that pressure test as soon as you get into the house. Another thing is that some buildings, the quality of pipes used are just not it at all. They use very inferior pipes that when you have pressure of water in the house, you have leakages here and there. So this is the reason why you need to conduct a pressure test in the building as soon as you buy that building. Another test that is okay for you to do is with regards to electrical systems. Electrical engineers say that one of the best things you can do is to do a check of the system, electrical system of the house, to check the load sharing, to check the quality of cables they used in the house, and also to check if the wiring is complete. Just like I explained in the mechanical aspect, the plumbing pipes, the same thing happens because there are pipes, conduit pipes laid on the slab, on the decking as it is being cast. When those pipes are not taken care of doing concrete works, they are broken and concrete gets to block them. And when that happens, you find out a situation where you move into a house, you find out that some points, lighting points or socket points do not have cables to them. It is because these pipes have been blocked that when the person doing wiring was doing the wiring, the wires couldn't pass through, so they left those ones alone. This is what you need to check when you are moving into a house to be sure that you don't have a house that some part of the sockets have cables, some do not have. Most importantly, electrical engineers have said you need to check the quality of cables they use for your wiring. It is safe for you that when you check and find out that the cables used are not quality cables, no matter how much it costs you, it is better to change those cables than to use them like that, because when you have electrical issues when you move into a house, it can be a nightmare. So when you're moving into a house, get an electrical engineer to help you check these things to be sure that the electrical system in your house, it's okay for you to go in. For those who would like to do maybe renovations or remodeling, let me explain these two languages. Renovation in a house is when you are trying to uplift the house, the face value of the house. You're trying to replace certain things that you don't like the way they look, they are old, or you don't like them, you're replacing them. But you're not changing the way the house is built, just to change the materials used and replace them with some other ones. That is renovation. But when it will involve that you're pulling down some walls, reconstructing them, and putting them in some other way, it has become remodeling. So whether it is renovation or remodeling, it is important that you get an architect involved in doing that, so that he can guide you in doing such renovation or remodeling. And if such remodeling or renovation will include or will involve touching any of the structural members, I mean the columns or beams in the house, you may need to get a structural engineer for an advice to be sure that you do not do anything that is going to cause harm to your building. This is the update I have today. I'll be here next time to discuss some other issues, topics in the construction industry.